Whoever wants to support your application has to be your close or distant relative or any of your friends, and definitely you'll have to prove your relationship if he or she is a friend. Okay. Good morning, lovely people. This is Siddiq from Mission Canada. This video is all about the Manitoba connections that you will be required to support your Manitoba PNP applications. Okay, so this is all about who can support you, who cannot, and if anyone wants to support you, then what should be their eligibility. Okay, let's begin with who can support your application. Whoever wants to support your application has to be your close or distant relative or any of your friends, and definitely you'll have to prove your relationship if he or she is a friend. Okay, who all are considered as close relative? If you have these persons living in Manitoba, they will be considered as close relative. Okay, so please check if you have any of them living in Manitoba, then you will be just lucky. If you are married to a permanent resident or Canadian citizen, then that person cannot be your supporter in this application. Rather, you'll be even luckier to apply for spousal sponsorship in the Canadian immigration system. That means you can even go with more quicker system. You don't need to wait long to get nominated, then all those things. Okay. Another thing, fortunately or unfortunately, the children cannot support their parents for these Manitoba connections. Okay, because if the children is already a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, they have other program to bring their parents in Canada. The IRCC call this as PGP, Parents and Grandparents Program. So there is another stream, not the Manitoba PNP anymore. Let's consider you have somebody out of your close relative, your distant relative, or the friends. Now, how they can support you? So if they really want to support you, then they have to be able to provide some documents. Number one is they'll have to provide some documents which prove that they're living in Manitoba and they're settled down in Manitoba. So what do I mean by settled down is maybe they have a job, they have a business, so they have to prove those documents, and they have to prove that they have been living in Manitoba for at least last 1 year. That's the minimum condition. That person has to be either a Canadian permanent resident or Canadian citizen. Also, whoever is the person, let's say it's a close, distant relative or the friend, so that person and you guys have to prove that you have enough ties between you. So for an example, if you're just telling friend, so like, you know, like I cannot just declare somebody, okay, he is my friend or she is my friend, and we just become friend. No, it is not how you declare. Rather, you have to prove. For example, you have some social media connections for a long time, or maybe you have a group photo, or you have a pair photo. You may have some business going on together. So you understand what I mean? Like, it's not that you're just telling somebody is friend and he or she becomes a friend. Rather, it has to have some background or some documents so that it proves you guys are really friend, you guys are really close relative or distant relative. So again, for the close relative, it becomes a little bit more harder or easier, I would say. So let's say you guys are cousin, so you'll have to submit your birth certificate for both the parents, where it shows that okay, they are connected. And how to prove they are connected? So you have to submit your grandparents' birth certificate or death certificate, whichever you have, so that it proves that okay, your parents are connected again. Okay, so you understand, like it becomes harder or it becomes easier to prove than a friend. If your supporter has supported any other applicants before, you will have to demonstrate, okay, they have supported before and that was successful. Now, it doesn't mean that that was unsuccessful and they cannot support you ever. No, it's not the case. Thing is that they have supported, the case was successful, or even if the case was unsuccessful, you will have to demonstrate it that that case was unsuccessful due to the applicant's fault or due to the ineligibility of the applicant, not due to the supporter. Okay, I hope you understand the point. If you do not understand this particular point, please leave your query in the comment. Okay, do not take any doubt on that. Being an applicant, you will submit a settlement plan, and your supporter has to also agree on that settlement plan and also has to give a consent on that settlement plan. For example, you are making a settlement plan which is totally ridiculous. No, it cannot be. Rather, you should come up with a practical plan, and your application supporter or your sponsor will also tell, yes, this is a practical plan and this is a practical scenario that he or she is planning with. Not only that, your supporter has to complete the second part of your settlement plan, where they will share all their details and also they will confirm whatever the plan, whatever the information you have submitted in this application, that is absolutely true, and they will also confirm your settlement plan as a legitimate one. That means in this whole scenario, the supporter has to take really a very good liability or responsibility on you. Now you understand who will take Good morning. Now you understand who will go for this sort of, I would say, risk of responsibility. So if it is really not too close to you, that means not too close relative or not too close friend, I don't think anyone is gonna ever do that. There are some special notes that I should point out. Number one is close relative versus distant relative or friends. It has got two difference in terms of the points. Okay, now please check out this video before you take any decision. Like if you have more than one option, let's say you have a close relative and you have a distant relative of the friend, who to go with. So there is difference between the points. Okay, so you will find the point details in this video, so you must check it out. And I'm just giving the short summary of that table so that you understand right now what is about. Okay, so this is the table so that you can see the difference between the close relative and the friends or the distant relatives. Okay, for the distant relative or the friends, they can support only one application at a time. That means if by any chance that person is supporting any other MNMP applicants, they cannot support you. So you'll have to make sure, you'll have to ask them very clearly whether they are involved in supporting any other application or not. So if they're supporting anybody else, you cannot go with that person anymore. You have to declare your supporter's address and contact details in your application very nicely, so that if it is required, that supporter can contact to MNMP authority regarding your application. If you don't mention about the contact details, they are not authorized to discuss about your application with MNMP anyway. Also, you'll have to make sure that your supporter and their contact information is so accurate that whenever Manitoba PNP authority wants to contact to them, they are easily reachable. Like if by any chance they want to reach out to them and they are not reachable, your application might be refused, because that time it's a, you know, it's a confusing situation, it's a doubtful situation whether that person really exists or not. So make sure your supporter is easily reachable. Even if by any chance they are changing their address or contact information, you got to update that information right away to the Manitoba PNP authority. Make sure you should not take any risk on that. Who cannot be your supporter at all? So any person who is a paid immigration representative, they cannot support your application at all. Or any Canadian elected person or their staff, they cannot support your application by any means. What's next? If you have any question regarding Manitoba connections or regarding the Manitoba PNP, please feel free to leave your questions in the video comment, and feel free to join our Facebook group, follow us on our Instagram, and you can follow us our blog. And if by any chance you need to hold to me and you need a one-to-one discussion, you can go to our blog, book my appointment, and we can go from there. Otherwise, this is it for the day, my friend. See you someday in Canada if you're coming. Bye bye.